From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to episode 201 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Karene, Sally Kunders, John Dyer and Warren Carr. And we are coming to you on Saturday, the 12th of October, 2024. This week, after our announcement section, we are joined by our special guest, Eric Scheibler. And in the Spotlight section, he will be talking about his app, WalkersGuide. Then, in our App of the Week section, Warren will demonstrate Thunderbird, an email client many of us will be familiar with from Windows. And we conclude with a commentary section where Karene demonstrates some AI improvements to that screen reader. Well, how are we all? Sally, how are you?
Well, I'm doing well. It's another day with you guys, and I'm so glad to be here as always. The week has been super busy for me, and I'm glad I'm get to the weekend right now. And the weather is like 28 degrees, and it's a great one in October, you know.
Nice.
And how are you?
Cold and wet. It's cold and wet here.
Oh,
so pretty busy, but drizzly. But it is definitely autumnal now. The heating thermostat has kicked in, so our radiators are on.
And that time again at the national break, right? The international break.
I don't like it. It's nonsense.
Definitely nonsense.
They shouldn't bother with it. Like club football matters all the way.
Yeah,
international football does not.
Yeah.
Karene, how are you?
I'm doing well. I can say, as always, I'm still here despite all of what's happening here, despite the troubles and the hardships that we are passing through. But yeah, I'm still trying to live as much as possible a normal life.
Good. Very, very glad to hear that. Warren, what's going on?
Looking better, just like Sally is. Two boys looking handsomer every day. And, well, seriously, I'm doing really well. Got a great weather coming up for us today, though. We're going to be hitting like 73 degrees. So I am looking forward to finishing with the episode and just go out there and bask in the sunshine.
Yeah, the looking handsomer thing. I'll just remind you both that you're blind. I'll leave that there.
Yeah, so
that's
being
nothing.
blind. Hang on, Sally.
I'll
just leave that where it is.
I'll put that boy in his place. So being blind does
Nobody
not mean
has the heart
you don't
to tell
look
them the
handsome.
truth. So they're
Doggone you boys.
they think they're handsome.
Oh my.
John Boy, what's going on in Virginia?
Not too much. Just a pretty chill week. I didn't buy too many things during the Amazon sale, so that's good. I just got a fan and a outlet tester thing, and that's all. So I'm proud of myself for kind of holding back a little bit.
No phone?
No phone.
No. Do you still have the Z Flip 6? Sorry, Z Flip 6. I'll correct myself.
The Fold 6, yeah.
Sorry, the Fold 6, yeah. You still have it. And the S24 Ultra, you still have.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to sell one of them eventually. I just can't make up my mind.
Yeah, but they're losing value all the time.
That's true.
And our special guest, Eric, how are you?
Yes, hello. I'm fine. I'm just here. It's already evening, and I just had a nice day, and now I waited that the recording starts, and yeah.
And you're coming to us from somewhere in Germany, are you? Whereabouts are you?
Yes, it's I'm from Dresden. It's more the eastern part of Germany.
And are Dynamo Dresden still a Mannschaft? Are they still? Do they still exist?
Yes, yes, they exist, but it's difficult. They are in the they are in the third league, and yeah,
But is
it's
it your
not
favorite
as
team?
good. Sorry.
What's your favorite team there in Germany?
Yes, actually it is Dynamo Dresden because it's it's in my hometown and so on. And I also go to the stadium sometimes,
Yeah.
but yeah, as I said, it's not as successful as it could be.
No. When I lived in Munich in München for a year, we were always 1860 fans because no one really liked Bayern, and they went down to the third league as well for a while. I've lost track of where they are in the regional third division, but yeah,
Yes, that's exactly the same division.
as you know,
They
yeah.
they already played against Dresden a few weeks ago.
Okay, yeah. So they were the same.
Well, Eric, you always have to root for the home team, right? So root for your own home team. That's all I can say. Root for the home team.
Of course.
And now, the announcement segment. This is a segment dedicated to things we want you to be in the know. And now for this week's episode, here's your announcements.
And now we turn to our announcement section. And the first thing is, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us for our 200th episode last week. It was very special. Great to have all our listeners with us. Great to meet some new folks, catch up with them, and of course, remember our dear friend Austin. It was a special week, and I'm very glad that you're able to join us. But that's not the only time you can celebrate with us this year, is it, Warren? Don't we have something else coming up that we want people to join for?
Indeed, Ed, we're so thankful you guys joined us, those of you that were able to, and it was such a great time having you guys. It was both funny yet sentimental in certain aspects, as you mentioned, Ed, especially when thinking about Austin. However, we do have a bigger one coming up still, and that's the 4th year anniversary. And guys, we want to make this a big celebration. Austin would love for it to be a big one. So we're looking forward to you guys coming on. And I think, like I said last week, though, it's going to be December 21, looking Christmas in the eye and, you know, all that Christmas tree up there and all that mistletoe. So looking forward to seeing you guys on the 21st as we celebrate our 4th anniversary.
And Warren promised you a big thing, and I think that is going to be when he abandons the Pixel.
Yeah, you know, talking about the Pixel, I kind of thought about you, Ed. I was hearing on the news, Fisher Price was recalling some baby swings. Oh my gosh, unbelievable.
Well, Warren did something I never thought I'd see him do on the email list. Someone was asking Warren whether they should buy a Pixel or compared it with another phone, and he told them to buy the other phone. Like, I was absolutely amazed. I mean, it's obviously what I would have done.
No, that's misinformation.
It's not.
Well, no, I
the guy
qualified
said.
it. Said, hang on. Well, the guy had some parameters. He wanted an SD card, and he wanted this and that. And I said, and he wanted a very small phone. And so I said, you know, given those parameters, his best bet is to get a Sony phone, not a Pixel phone, because you're not going to find an SD card on any Pixel phone. Besides, some of the Xperia phones are smaller than the Pixel phone. So definitely, looking at whatever, I think Sony is the best phone for that guy. Like I said, though, I myself would like Sony if only the software is a little bit better.
Updates.
Yeah.
But how is that misinformation? Like I said, it was a specific inquiry on the list, and you said not to get the Pixel. And that is literally what you did.
I qualified it, though. Yes, the qualifier.
I qualified it too by saying it was a response to a specific inquiry.
No. Well, let's be honest. Sony phones are great phones, and I don't know why they're doing what they're doing, and they don't sell them here in the States. Kind of crazy.
They are nice phones. I do slightly miss my Sony. They are good quality hardware.
Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight.
Let's move on to our Spotlight section. And I'm delighted to say we are joined by Eric Scheibler, who is the developer of WalkersGuide, which we've discussed and demonstrated on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. So welcome again, Eric. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into app development, particularly for blind people?
Yeah, of course. At first, I'm blind too, and so I wanted to get around in my city and especially in my surroundings. And with the smartphones, I started to use GPS more and more. And first, I got an iPhone in 2010 or something like this. And I was a bit disappointed with the solutions which were there at this time, especially the accessible ones for blind users. And about 2 years later, then Android came around with the accessibility. I thought maybe I try to develop my own. And I chose Android because Apple made it very difficult to develop apps for them. And so the project started, and at first I did some tests and for myself. Didn't have in mind to publish anything or so. But then I thought, okay, it's working, especially the route planning feature. And so I thought, yes, let's bring it to other people, to the store, and so on. And that's about 10 years ago. And since then, the project is there and it's growing steadily. And yes, that's.
Hi, Eric. So I reached out to you, and I'm so thankful you joined us today. And I really like Walker's Guide. Of course, I've told you about some of the things that I would love to see, especially, and I think the one that stood out to me the most was the fact that I needed to keep the screen awake, right, or keep the screen alive while I'm navigating. And I know that you and I had talked about that, and that's probably one area that I'm looking forward to when you're able to get into it to make it work with the screen shut off. That would be a nice thing to see come to that app, because here's the deal. You're blind like us, and I'm really glad about that. I'm not glad that you're blind, but I'm glad that someone who feels the pain, knows where the hurting points are, knows what we need. And the Walker's Guide checks those boxes for me. So the only thing I'm looking for is that ability to have the screen shut off. And also, like I said in my email or in our conversation prior to you coming on here, is to be able to see where I could make that search right there from the home screen, without the need of going to the menu or the navigational drawer and choose to tap there to go search for the destination I'm going to. So really, I'm happy about it. But so you're going to help us explain some of the things in there, because in my demonstration, I didn't go into some of the details like I ought to. And so I'm glad that you are here with us today, and you'll help us explain some of those features better than what I did.
Yes, of course. Maybe one word on, let's call it feature requests in general. As I mentioned in my introduction, the project is more or less a one-person project, which I do in my free time. And as you can imagine, it's lots of stuff you have to do just to keep it working and to get the next updates. For example, you constantly have to do something to keep it on the Play Store, because Google demands many things about the developers. And so it's basically, my problem is I must say no to feature requests. It's a hard thing to do, because I want to realize the features someone else requests, because it's obviously important for this person. But if I would say yes to everything, I know that I never could come around to check all my to-do list points. And so it's some things I also want to have, and so they are definitely coming, like this screen off feature. Some other things are not as realistic as I would like they are, and so you have to be patient. It's just use it if you can, if it works for you, and of course do requests, do wishes, but don't be disappointed if it may take some time. And for example, this feature could take some months, because it's complicated. The details are complicated to achieve, and so that's just to get these basics.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you tell me a little bit about what you think sets your app apart from some of the other apps? So what's its unique selling point? There are GPS apps on Android. I don't need you to criticize them particularly, but can you tell me what features you have? You developed it for yourself, obviously. What gaps were you addressing that some of the other GPS apps didn't do?
Yeah, basically it's the routing feature. You can set your destination, and then it will route you from your current one or whatever you choose as a start point, and then route you to your destination. And it tries to do this in the most accessible way. Maybe some words about what most accessible means later. First, I'm not the best person to compare other apps, because as I said 10 years ago, it was that all the other apps lacked route navigation at all. And then I started to implement my own solution. And after this, I didn't look back. So I can develop every feature I need, and so I never got around to look after whatever apps could do. And so I don't know, maybe today there are other apps which also can create a route and help you navigating it. But for example, of course, Google may offer this in Google Maps, and I know some apps for the blind which rely on this Google Maps feature. And my problem with Google Maps especially is that it's not as precise as I would like it to be as a blind user. For example, if you have an intersection, I think it's worth knowing which streets are connecting to this intersection in which angles. And this is something you won't get from a commercial app which doesn't specialize on the blind community. And so I think, yeah, this routing feature with the point for accessible routes is just the main selling point of this app. And to come back to this accessible, I try to route the user through smaller streets, through ways which are nice to walk, paved ways, and so on. And this is how I try to avoid, for example, bigger intersections, because it's often not the problem to walk along a big street, but then you come to the intersection, and especially as a passenger, you get the problem that you can't cross. Maybe there's traffic lights, okay, then it's fine if the traffic lights is accessible too, but often you have problems crossing. And so it's, in my opinion, it's much better to use smaller routes, to use ways without cars and so on. Yeah, that's basically my the point why I like my app, and I still use it and still develop it because in the first place I am my best user, if you follow me.
Let's talk about availability, because when you first brought it out, and especially when we got it on the Play Store, we were lacking some areas here, especially in the States. And I was surprised, though, when I contacted you about it, and in no time at all, you made the whole country available. And I'm surprised to the speed at which you were able to bring that about. Now, I know some people have asked a question. Is it possible to maybe download certain maps for offline use in the event that one wants to use it offline? I don't know. For me, I would use it while I'm online, but is it possible to find a way of downloading the map of a given area for offline use?
Okay, maybe some words on the data which my app is based on. My app is based on OpenStreetMap data, which is a free and open map and includes the whole world. And so if I have to, if one country is not already there, I just have to download the map for this country and make it available. But regarding your question of downloading it directly into the app, I must disappoint you. So it's basically a client-server architecture. That means you need a server which the app itself contacts, and the server does all the route calculation things. And so it's basically on the server where the map creation process started. And unfortunately, it's not possible, or it's very, very difficult to change this and put it all into the app. And therefore, you at least need an online connection for the route calculation process. you then, if the app has downloaded the route, then you can follow it perfectly without internet connection. But for the request itself, you have to be online to connect by server. And about the maps which are available, recently I upgraded my server, which is just in my basement, a very basic home server, and I upgraded the storage, and now I can provide all the maps of the whole world. So this problem which with map requests should be gone now, because everyone is able to just use the app and select the map which he's in. But as I rely on OpenStreetMap, it's unclear how good the map is in your area. So that's basically nothing I can do about if no one in your area tagged all the streets and points of interest and so on. The app can provide you with a very nice route. So basically, you have to try it and see what results you get, which route you have to take, and then you'll see if this works out for you.
So I think you said once you've kind of downloaded your route, that's fine, and it's on your phone, even though the map's on the server. If it needs to recalculate that route because you've gone wrong or somehow not done what the app said, would that need an online connection, or can it correct itself once it knows where you want to go?
No, that's the same thing all over again. You have to ask the server for another route. For you as the user, it's a recalculation, but for the server, it's just another request. So if you are stuck with this calculated route and you don't have an internet connection, then you can't do much about it.
Yeah, then you're stuck. Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, that reminds me of the Google offline map. We were traveling to Yellowstone National Park, and of course, you don't have internet connectivity. So we started though with online access, and it was able to guide us through even when we lost connectivity. But like you said, if you veered off, then of course you're going to be tossed because you will need another internet connectivity in order to be able to get to that destination where you're going. So that totally makes sense to me.
I don't know if it was an Android or not, but does anyone remember Navigon? I love Navigon. Lots of offline maps that you could download. It was very expensive, like literally the most expensive mainstream app I've ever bought on iOS, £40. But it would download gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes to your phone, take up most of it, but it would always do what you wanted.
The problem why this is not possible is that in 2012 or 13, I couldn't do on the smartphone what I wanted to do, and so it just was the only way I could take it. Just install it on the server and then be done with the big data problems and so on. And then it's if you are established just this client server architecture and the app relies on the server, it would be so much work to redo this. So it's a feature I sometimes would like to, but that's something you then would have to
Yeah.
use another app for this if you really use, or if you really need it much more often than, let's say, once a year or so. Of course, that depends on your location and the coverage of mobile data, but yeah, that's like it is.
And most apps don't do it anymore. Like Navigon doesn't exist. Like Google will let you download some stuff, but most GPS apps assume you'll be online. So I think you're entirely in line with how all of the other GPS apps work these days. Whereas 10, 15 years ago, maybe it was a little bit different. One of the things you said was that you wanted it to be a bit more precise than some of the other ones. But how did you make it more precise than some of the other ones?
To come back to the intersection problem, that was the first thing I wanted to be more precise about, and the advantage of open data like OpenStreetMap is you get all the raw data in the database. You can write your own scripts and do things with the data which other people didn't do because they don't need it, and so on. And a street is basically a list of points, and I just wanted to, I defined that an intersection is if two streets have share a single point. And therefore I thought, okay, if I have this, then I can calculate all the rest. For example, these angles of the streets which are part of the intersection. And this, after I had this, I looked into what else can I get from OpenStreetMap. And you have lots and lots of attributes which are tagged with the way, with the street, like surface and where is the sidewalk, the width of the street, and all this kind of information. And of course, you don't need this every time you want to navigate to a point, but it might come in handy if you are not quite sure, is this the correct way you're on? You can check the surface and so on. It's just an offer. You get all the information which someone tagged, and then you can make of it what you want. But it's there if you need it.
So what might it say? I know we could possibly have done this through a demo outside, but what? So I'm walking along, pulling Warren's Cheeks Street, and I'm coming to an intersection. What might it say?
If you are following the route, it will for the most time continue to tell you how far you are from the next intersection and in which direction the next intersection is. And then let's say you come near to this intersection, it will warn you that close by you enter this intersection, and it will tell you the name, just the name as it is, street 1, street 2, because often an intersection doesn't have a name by itself. And then, so okay, in about 30 meters or so, it comes the point where I have to cross or turn left or whatever. And if you then go ahead, it will bring you another announcement which tells you now you have to turn. now you are on this point where you have to turn left. And if you want to get more information, you just have to look on the screen and see, for example, the layout of this intersection. But mostly it's yeah, let's say a standard 3 or 4 road intersection, and then it's maybe enough if you know now I have to cross.
There was a feature in there that I talked about in my demo, especially when I get home, for example, because oftentimes, people want to know, when I get home, let me know, here's a little beacon or something to that effect that lets me know, okay, now here's the entrance to that house, or here's the entrance or the gate to that compound, or whatever you want to call it. Or my driveway. And I think that's a feature that I saw in there that I like. You could record, this is my driveway or whatever, so it will let you know. And I really like that feature. I just wanted to mention that because sometimes people want that in their navigational app. So sometimes one could place a little beacon, maybe make a sound or whatever. But I like the fact that in this one, you could record actually what you wanted to say. So that's what I want to say. Thank you for.
And if I may, just a few words, maybe about how the layout in general of this app, just to don't jump right in and don't get the layout. It's basically a 3-tab layout. You have 3 tabs on the bottom, and the first one is, yeah, it's an overview tab. You start with this. I also could call it start or home or something like this. But it's you can start with this, and you see your current address. You are there, and then you also can pin points and routes. And this is related to what Warren said. You may pin, for example, your current location if you want to remember it and want to go to it later. And the idea of pinning something is just you come across some interesting POI, or you want to remember this position, and you need it later. You don't need it right now, but you need it later. And so it's just like a bookmark feature. You can on every screen you can call the context menu of, for example, a POI or a route, and then you can pin it, and then it's on your overview tab, and you always can come back to it later and maybe sort it back into another collection, or remove it because you don't need it anymore, or something like this. Previously, let's say this feature is rather new, because in the past I had this problem that I constantly mislaid points I searched for, and then I couldn't find them again. And so I thought it's nice to have something like this to pin your points. And maybe another interesting thing in this overview tab is you at the top of the screen below this address bar, you have another tab layout. In the documentation I constantly call them subtabs, because don't know a better name for this. It's just another way to structure the tab. You have the tab with this pin feature I mentioned, and then you have another sub tab with where you can follow points or POIs. For example, you would want to get updates when you are walking through your surroundings, and you want to know which shops are close by or you're coming by. Then you could create a profile for all the shops, and then say go to this subtab, to this tracking subtab, and just say enable this tracking feature, and then you would get constant feedback while you are walking around. And the motivation for this was someone requested this. He wanted to navigate a planned route. He did this planning like I mentioned at the start, and got a route to his destination, but he also wanted to keep informed about what is about him. And of course, then he could have switched between the tabs, but this is an annoying thing, especially if you do it very often. And so the request was, could we not have a feature to inform me while I'm walking what's around me? And so that's basically these two different features come with this overview tab. And the other one, the middle tab, is for navigation, as we discussed before. And the rightmost tab is for the points of interest, where you can, for example, create a profile which tells you everything about the shops or public transport stops and so on. Basically, this is where you create the point profiles, which I referred to in the tracking feature. And I think that's it for now. It's, of course, it's not as easy as you might think to navigate or to get familiar with this app, because it's are many features in it. But I think if you know these, you have a good start.
Yeah, and that's why we have you on here to tell everyone about them. And one question about points of interest. I have a particular view on this, which I'll tell you in a minute. Can you share your points of interest? I'm not sure you should be able to, because I remember a GPS app on an operating system a long time ago, far, far away, where people would create points of interest and they could share them, and they put things like my house, which told nobody anything, and like they shared these points of interest saying like Ed's bus stop. I didn't actually do that, but so do you allow points of interest to be shared?
It depends how you define sharing. One thing you may do with every point is I think I call it share, because it does nothing else than you click on the share button, and then you get an URL for example, OpenStreetMap. Basically, it creates this URL, and then you can share this with other folks, for example, via Messenger, or however you like to share links. And it's nice, especially if you are if you want to meet with sighted folks. You then could could share your location, and OpenStreetMap just shows a map in the browser, and then it's easy for other folks to find you on this map. That's basically the sharing feature, but I think it covers mostly what you, or at least what I need if I want to share it with others.
Yeah, no, that wasn't how share works on the other one, but that is how share
Yes,
should work, I think.
exactly. Because,
Well, it was people could upload POIs to the database, labeled things like "my house," which just caused chaos on some apps a long time ago. But that was pre-OpenStreetMap, so we're talking a few years ago now. Yeah, that's a much better location sharing way to do it, I think.
Well, Eric, this has been fun having you on here. This has been really good. And you're looking forward to when you're able to do whatever you're able to. And especially with that search where I could just search anywhere, or at least in the overview there, I could just search for where I'm going. I think that would be great. But we really thank you for coming on to share with us, talk with us about Walker's Guide. I really like the app, and hoping people will also try it and see how they like it. Again, thank you so much for coming. And, when something monumental happens with the app, would you be willing to come back and chat with us again?
Yes, of course.
Good.
No problem.
Good. And then now I'm going to hold your feet down to the fire. Now you're going to come to our 4th anniversary on December 21, if you are able to. And we could, in the mix of things, we could also talk about Walker's Guide. How about that?
Okay. Yes. Sounds great.
Nice. And, get a little, eggnog or whatever you want to drink. I don't know.
Bit of Malteser. Or,
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, you're very, very welcome.
Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week.
And now we move to the App of the Week, and Warren demonstrates the Thunderbird email app.
Hi. For episode 201 App of the Week, this is demonstrating Thunderbird. Thunderbird for Android is an email client that some of you have known for a long time, and finally we now have it on Android. I recall that we talked about this earlier on our email group, and I'm delighted to be demonstrating that here today. I had installed it, but I went ahead and cleared the storage as well as uninstalled it, and now I'm on its Play Store page, and I'll navigate to the About so you can hear the description and then decide as to whether or not this is something you would like to use. I'm demonstrating this on my Pixel 9 Pro XL. I will now tap on that About and afterwards go back and install it and proceed from there.
About this app heading. Google Play Store. Thunderbird Beta for Testers Details. Thunderbird is a 100% open-source, privacy-focused email app. Help make the next Thunderbird release as awesome as possible by downloading Thunderbird Beta and getting early access to the latest features and bug fixes before they're officially released. Your testing and feedback are important, so please report bugs, rough edges, and share your thoughts with us. Find our bug tracker, source code, and wiki at https://github.com/thunderbird/thunderbird-android. We're always happy to welcome new developers, designers, documenters, translators, bug triagers, and friends. Visit us at https://thunderbird.net/participate to get started. What you can do. Thunderbird is a powerful, privacy-focused email app. Effortlessly manage multiple email accounts from one app with a unified inbox option for maximum productivity. Built on open-source technology and supported by a dedicated team of developers alongside a global community of volunteers, Thunderbird never treats your private data as a product. Supported solely by financial contributions from our users, so you never have to see ads mixed in with your emails again. What you can do. Ditch multiple apps in webmail. Use one app with an optional unified inbox to power through your day. Enjoy a privacy-friendly email client that never collects or sells your personal data. We directly connect you to your email provider. That's it. Take your privacy to the next level by using OpenPGP Email Encryption (PGP) MIME with the Open Keychain app to encrypt and decrypt your messages. Choose to sync your email instantly at set intervals or on demand. However you want to check your email, it's up to you. Find your important messages using both local and server-side search. Compatibility. Thunderbird works with IMAP and POP3 protocols, supporting a wide range of email providers, including Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo Mail, iCloud, and more. Why use Thunderbird? The trusted name in email for over 20 years, now on Android. Thunderbird is fully funded by voluntary contributions from our users. We don't mine your personal data. You are never the product. Made by a team that is as efficiency-minded as you are. We want you to spend minimal time using the app while getting maximum in return. With contributors from all over the world, Thunderbird for Android has been translated into more than 20 languages. Supported by Mozilla Technologies Corporation, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Mozilla Foundation. Open source and community. Thunderbird is free and open source, which means its code is available to see, modify, use and share freely. Its license also ensures that it will be free forever. You can think of Thunderbird as a gift from thousands of contributors to you. We develop in the open with regular, transparent updates on our blog and mailing lists. Our user support is powered by our global community. Find the answers you need or step into the role of a contributor, whether it's answering questions, translating the app, or telling your friends and family about Thunderbird.
That was the description of the app. Now let's hear a little bit about the information about the app, the version, release dates, and things like that.
App info.
Moving on.
Version 8.0 B2. Updated on October 7, 2024. Downloads 10,000 plus downloads. Download size 5.93 megabytes. Required OS Android 5.0 and up. In-app purchases $9.99 minus $199.99 per item. Offered by Mozilla Thunderbird. Released on September 30th, 2024.
And that's the information about the app. I'll now navigate my way back to that installation page and go tap on Install.
Play Store. About this app heading. Install button. Pending. Verified by Play Protect. Navigate up button. Thunderbird beta for testers. 0%. 93%. 99%. Installing. Checking for updates for where.
That's been installed, and I'll now tap on Open.
Open button in list. Thunderbird Beta. Welcome to Thunderbird Beta, the Android email client designed for enhanced security, easy customization, and seamless management of all your email accounts.
And toward the bottom, we've got a couple of buttons. There's a circular button that says Start Button, and below that is the Import Settings.
Start button.
And below that is the button that goes halfway across the screen.
Import Settings button.
Import Settings. That's all that we have here. And now I'll tap on Start Button.
Start button.
We're now on a new page, and near the top we hear
Thunderbird Beta.
And then in the middle of the screen,
Edit box email address.
This is where you type in the email address that you would like to connect or fetch the email from using Thunderbird. At the bottom, of course, we have a couple buttons. To the left is the back, and to the right is that next button. I'll now pause this and put in my email in here. In other words, I'm going to put in my email address for the mail service that I want to use Thunderbird to fetch. I just finished typing my email address and I'll now tap on Next.
Next button. Thunderbird Beta. Keyboard hidden. Configuration found. Configure automatically.
There we are, and we heard configuration found, configure automatically. And below that is my email address.
Work.
And then below that,
We'll redirect you to your email provider to sign in. You need to grant the app access to your email account.
and moving on.
Google logo. Sign in with Google button.
And you have Google there, sign in with Google. Because I'm using this on my Gmail, I tap here.
0% progress bar. Chrome. 0%. Sign in. Google accounts. Web view. Close tab button. Choose an account to continue to Mozilla Thunderbird email. Choose an account. Heading 1.
We're now on a page that tells us to choose an account, and you could choose to sign in with Mozilla, or in my case, I'll just continue to sign in with Google.
To continue to Mozilla Thunderbird email button.
You could sign in
Warren Carr Warcare at
and or my Gmail account.
collapsed.
And below that,
Use another account. Link 2 of 2.
we have use another account. If you want to use a different account, you could tap here. Basically, you're creating a new account. And below that,
Before using this app, you can review Mozilla Thunderbird emails.
so basically all the privacy concerns and all of that.
Privacy policy. Link.
And then at the bottom, you have a language selection that you would like to reach such policy in.
Collapsed. English, United States. Drop-down list English, United States.
All right, now go back and tap on my email address.
Warren Carr Warcare. 0% progress bar. 0%. Sign in. Google accounts. Web view. Mozilla Thunderbird.
Now I'm on a page now that is asking me to
Wants to
authenticate,
access your Google account.
and I'm going to tell it to allow.
Allow. Button. 0% progress bar. Thunderbird Beta. Security alert. Mozilla Thunderbird email can now access your Google account.
There we go. So it can now access my account. And now below here we got
Display options.
the display options. In other words, how you want your email to show when you send someone an email. And below that is going to be the email address,
Warcare at Gmail.
And then-
Edit box. Your name.
your name here,
Showing English. US QWER.
and you basically type your name in here. I'll go ahead and type my name.
Capital W. Whiskey. A. Alpha. R. R. Warren. Selected. Warren. Space. Shift. Capital C. Charlie. A. Alpha. A. R. R. Edit box email signature.
Next is your email signature. If you have one, you could type it in, and then at the bottom right,
Next button out of list.
next.
Next button. Keyboard hidden.
Now we're on the next page, and this has to do with the syncing of your email messages.
Sync options.
We hear sync options, and below that,
Every hour edit box. Check frequency. Drop down list.
and if we tap here,
Pop-up window. Never out of list.
we have never,
Every 15 minutes. Every 30 minutes. Every hour. Every 2 hours. Every 3 hours. Every 6 hours. Every 12 hours. Every 24 hours.
and that's the last one there. I'm not the type that likes my email client checking my email messages all the time. I check them when I want to. So for me though, I'm going to tap on never.
Never. Thunderbird Beta. Never edit box. Check frequency.
And now at the bottom right,
Next button out of list. Thunderbird Beta.
and now we're on a new page.
Improve the experience. Allow access to be able to provide contact suggestions and to display contact names and photos.
And we have,
Allow button.
so basically allow it to have access to your contacts, and that also will make it possible for autocomplete when you're trying to type an address.
Turn on notifications so you don't miss any emails.
And below that on the right is allow,
Allow button.
and then at the bottom right is skip.
Skip button.
I'm going to tap skip.
Thunderbird Beta. Navigate up button. Navigate up button.
We're now in the email area, and the first thing we heard is navigate up, and that's on the top left corner. I am actually now in my inbox.
Unread, blind Android users. So how long?
So there you go. Those are some of the contents of my email messages that has been fetched. And then at the very bottom right is your compose.
Compose button out of list.
And then on the top left is that navigate the top. Near the top right, we've got 3 buttons. And the first one going right from there is
Search button.
going right.
Sort by button.
We have the sort by. That is how you want to sort your email messages. And the last one,
More options button.
more options button. Let's look at the sort by.
Sort by button.
Tab.
Pop-up window. Date in list.
You could sort by date.
Arrival. Subject. Sender. Star. Read unread. Attachments.
And that's the last one in that sort by. Let's go back.
Thunderbird Beta. Sort by button out of list.
And now let's look at the more options on the top right.
More options button. Pop-up window. Select all in list.
We have select all. In other words, if you want to select every email that is being displayed, you could just tap on this to select all. And the last one,
Mark all as read.
that's all we have. I'm going to go back.
Thunderbird Beta. More options button out of list.
Now let's talk a little bit about email selection, because if you long press on an email, it will select it. It, however, does not support actions, because I know some people like actions. I haven't seen that. For example, if I put my finger down
Unread, blind Android users. So how long do you think the USB port?
and if I swipe down,
U. Uniform.
see it says U for the unread.
N. November.
So I'm spelling it instead. So if I change granularities, for example,
Speech rate. Screen search. Links. Controls. Headings. Paragraphs. Lines. Words. Characters. Speech rate. Screen search.
as you can see, there are no actions. Now, if I want to select this email, for example, all I need to do though will be to simply long press that email. That is double tap and holding.
One selected.
It says one selected. Now, if I move my finger down randomly,
Unread, revolving light. YouTube unveils a new.
and if I go back to that one that I selected near the top,
Unread, blind Android users. So how long do you think the USB port?
you notice though that it doesn't tell me that it is selected, but it is selected. If I move my finger toward the very top, however, I'll see some of the toolbars that came through as a result of that selection. Starting from the right,
Done, button out of list.
we got done,
One selected.
moving right,
Delete button.
moving right,
Mark is read.
moving right,
Archive button.
and the last button on the right
More options button.
is the more options. So as you can see, it doesn't tell you that the selected email was selected. So I'll now tap on Done.
In Done button out of list. Thunderbird Beta. Navigate up button.
Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Navigate Up. In other words, it's like the navigational drawer, and see what we have.
Menu. Work.
The first thing we heard is my email address, and then moving on.
Unified Inbox 17 tab.
Now, these are not arranged left to right, but they're stacked above each other. So it's like Gmail.
Selected
essentially.
Inbox 17 Outbox tab. Gmail All Mail. Gmail Drafts. Gmail Sent. Gmail Spam. Gmail Trash.
You got the drift. But I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom because there's one last button there at the very bottom that is of importance.
Mailbox Later.
And here's what I'm talking about.
Show Accounts tab.
It says Show Accounts tab. That's the last item there in that long menu. If I tap on that, it toggles to hide accounts. But then at the same time, it brings up some very important things that I want to take a look at. So I'm going to tap on that Show Accounts. Now that I've tapped on that, toward the very top on the left, it will say GM for Gmail.
GM.
There's that GM. And so here's what we have alongside with that from the top.
Work. Sync All Accounts button.
And
Settings button.
settings. And both the sync and the settings were not there. And so in order to see that settings, you will need to tap on that Show Account tab at the very bottom. And now I'm going to tap on Settings.
Settings. Navigate up button.
And here are the items found in Settings.
Account Settings, General Settings in list.
There's Account Settings, General Settings. You can go into these things. I'm not going to go into them, but I'm just showing you what's here. Next.
Accounts.
We got Accounts.
Account Settings, Workare at
In other words, it tells you what your account username is. And below that,
Account Settings, Add Account.
so if you have another account, say you want to add your Outlook account or something else, you could tap on that to add such an account. Next.
Backup.
We come across Backup. Next.
Account Settings, Export Settings.
You could export your settings. Next.
Account Settings, Import Settings.
Or you could import, and
Miscellaneous.
we come across Miscellaneous.
Account Settings, About.
About
Account Settings, Get Help.
and Get Help. That's the last thing there. Now, let's quickly
Thunderbird
open
Beta.
one of the email messages and then we'll close.
Navigate up. Unread. Blind Android users. So how long do you think the
I tap on that.
blind Android users. So how long do you think the USB port will last in horizontal pager?
Now that I've opened the message, if I put my finger down near the top,
Amanda Lee via groups.io
I'll
350.
go down.
Actually, when I last connected a USB-C keyboard to my Pixel 7 Pro and will soon be active. Well, from blind Android users at groups.
I'm just going through. Now, near the top, we got
Delete button out of grid pager.
delete there near the top, going toward the right,
Mark unread button.
or
More options button.
more options. Let's see what's in here.
Pop-up window. Refile in list.
Let's refile,
Unsubscribe. Show headers.
and
Compose.
that's the last one there.
Thunderbird beta. More options button out of list.
And now, before I bring this to a close, the question is, where is that reply? It is not at the bottom like you find in some other email clients. Rather, it's near the top where it says the name of the person or the email address.
Blind Android.
So that's the subject matter, and then to the right of that subject matter
Flagged button.
is the flag. And directly below that, if you are an explorer, if you move your finger down, you're going to find where it says reply. Now, if you're a swiper, however, if you swipe once, it's going to land you on the name of the person that's sending the email and their email address. So if I swipe, for example,
Amanda Lee via group.
so it says Amanda. Now, to the right of that will be the reply.
Reply button.
And that's a brief demonstration of the Thunderbird email client. I like the clean UI, and I hope you like it too. And when you go to the compose, you don't have any web view issues or anything of that sort. Everything is nice and clean. I hope you like the Thunderbird, and you may give it a try to see how it compares with some of the email clients that you have. Thanks for listening.
So Warren, what do you think? Is it Thunderbird is go? Do you like it?
You know, I always like simplistic apps, and indeed, Thunderbird is very simplistic. And another plus to Thunderbird is the fact that the web views are not bad at all. So I know some of the other email clients, like maybe when you move to the edit field, it's not always very cooperative, but this is. And I think if there's one thing that is missing is the fact that when you select a message, for example, or an email, for example, and you navigate away from it and come back to it, it doesn't let you know that that particular email has been selected, as I demonstrated in my demonstration. So that's one of the shortcomings of that app that I saw, and I hope that maybe one could give them a feedback and see if there's something they could do about that to kind of improve that a little bit. But outside of that, I really like it. It's very simplistic, and I like the UI. It's very good.
One thing I spotted was that it had the subject before the sender. You didn't go into settings. Do you know if you can change that?
I don't know if you could change that. The demonstration was getting a little bit long, so I didn't go into some of those areas like the general settings and all of that. It's a possibility one would be able to change that, because especially like where the headers are, I think one should be able to rearrange how things appear in the sort by. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure.
I did poke around in the settings, and to be honest, there wasn't much there. So I don't remember seeing something like being able to customize that sort of thing, because I was looking to see if I could have them sorted differently, because the way like a thread was sorted for me was like most recent at the top. And I couldn't, unless you, actually I didn't try it from within the actual thread itself. Maybe there's something in the more options, but I didn't see something like that in the settings. And also I was trying to see if I could get rid of the sender image and that's next to every message, and the star button that's next to every message, just so I could swipe directly between emails. And it didn't have anything. It didn't have that level of customization. But I mean, this is a beta, so I'm sure they're going to add things as they go along.
Yeah, because Aquamail will do that. Because sometimes I'll see a subject and I'm really interested, and then I'll see it sent by someone called Warren Carr, and it's like, I literally don't want to read that. And if it had told me it was Warren Carr first, I'd delete it.
Yeah, well, so
I'm just winding you up.
Yeah, no, I know, but so I'm looking at it though, but the way I see it at my end, you have the to, and then after the to field, you have the subject, and after the subject, you have the body of the email. So are you not seeing that at your end?
I'm talking about the inbox list. So I'm looking at the messages, not sending a message.
Okay, so you're not talking about the composition.
I'm talking about the inbox. When you were demonstrating it, it was subject first. So
yeah.
So I want to, because it might be from you, and I want to ignore you.
Doggone you, boy.
Yeah, exactly that.
Ed, you could easily. I've set up a rule for my Gmail inbox. It just puts all Warren stuff into a folder. I never have to check.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
or excuse me, a label. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah. The one called bin. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now, all this while, though, I thought you guys are my friends, but I know.
We love
Yeah.
you. We want to
I,
cuddle
I
you on
got it.
your cheeks.
Yeah, but seriously, I like the app. If they could fix some of those things, especially the selection, and then also the fact that it doesn't have actions. I know some people, it's a uh, make or break it feature for them if it has or doesn't have actions. Um, it's not a make it or break it feature for me. I always long press my stuff to select when I want to select something.
No, I do too. I'm not a big actions guy, to be honest, because a lot of my emails I don't read. I'm on a lot of lists, and I only contribute where I think I have something to say. So
You know,
I don't want
since-
an actions thing. I'll double tap like 20 emails in a row sometimes. So actions for me is less efficient than double tapping.
I think I love actions, and since it's another way to perform it, so actions should be there if they can, because Gmail also has it, Outlook has it now. My favorite one, Aquamail, doesn't have it yet. I sent them several emails, but they didn't care at all. So if Thunderbird makes it, I'm gonna switch to it, definitely.
No, I love Aquamail as well. That's my favorite. No, I want actions. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
for
I know.
me,
Yeah.
actions aren't because of the way I check my emails. I probably like want to read 1 in 10. So actually, actions would be more inefficient if I use them.
Yeah, it's good to have both ways, because if you know you're deleting a whole bunch of things, it's easier not to use actions. But if you're just going through a few things, and like sometimes I'll be selecting a lot of different ones to delete, and then I'm like, oh, now I want to go and check this one message, but I can't go in there because everything else will get deselected. So I mean, I guess I could just delete them and then go in there and continue on. But yeah, it's good to have both ways to approach it.
I'm with John here because both ways should be available, should be present. But the problem is not here. Actually, in Gmail, for example, there is no problem because you don't have after each message the actions for this message button or the select button or whatever. So Gmail is already, the UI is already good. But with other apps like YouTube, for example, or the apps, even if we are talking about an email app that has an action button after the message itself, when you need to do more swipes when you are moving through a list or doing some navigation. So here I think where actions are really needed, like in YouTube, for example. So I don't need to go to actions to hear actions for this video and then go to channel. And if I long press, it actually won't show me the stuff anyway. So the point of actions here is very important in such scenario where they have implemented the thing next to the buttons next to the item. It's not via long pressing. So I think in this situation, actions should be included, and this should be a must in this situation. Like also in Gemini, where you have the buttons related to each message. So I don't want to go to navigate all of those buttons just to go to the next message. So yeah, here comes actions importance.
Yeah, you can turn off those buttons in Aquamail at least, so you can make it just so you're swiping from message to message. You can turn off the annoying thing next to it. It doesn't give you actions, but it does mean you can just double tap.
Yeah, that's what I like about Aquamail. You can disable those separators, those star buttons, and it's a simple list. And when you long press on the mail, it gets selected, and you can see the actions at the top, like at the bottom of the screen.
Now, Gmail, though, even with Gmail, the actions, in the actions, I don't think there's a select in the actions. So you still have to long press on a message to select. But I think another feature that I like in this Thunderbird is the fact that, say, I start a composition of an email and I decided, hey, nah, I don't want it. And if I just swipe back, it just simply discards that email as to Gmail, which will keep it in your drafts. So, and you need to go clean up that draft. So I like that feature because a lot of times if I cancel something I don't want it saved. I cancel because I don't want it. If I want to save it in my drafts, I'll choose to save it in my draft.
And is the keyboard okay in Thunderbird? You didn't demonstrate that. Does it just bring up the normal keyboard?
Yeah, it brings up the virtual. I didn't try a physical keyboard. That's an oversight on my part because I'm not a physical keyboard user, so I didn't do that. But I would like to believe it would work. I'll try it later on and see if it does.
But you didn't demonstrate Compose anyway, did you? So does the virtual keyboard work?
Yeah, no, the virtual keyboard works. Yeah.
Yeah, it works fine. There's no issue. I know some email clients can be a bit quirky. Gmail can be a bit quirky. Aquamail can be a bit quirky. But it's not.
This one works well. That's why I said the web views behave really well. And so message composition is a breeze. And now, Jieshuo, aka Commentary Screen Reader, CSR, or if you're me, the confused screen reader. This is a segment dedicated to this great popular screen reader where we show you some new feature or some feature that we believe you should be in the know of. And now, for this episode, here's your entry for Jieshuo, aka Commentary Screen Reader.
And now we conclude this week's episode with our next Jieshuo segment, and Karene demonstrates some improvements in Jieshuo's AI, where you can submit questions via voice when you have items in focus, or just ask it to describe the screen.
Hi. Jieshuo Screen Reader has two functions to describe in details the current focus or the entire screen. However, it's not possible to include your own prompt or question with the captured image. Recently, Jieshuo has introduced two new functions which are also related to current focus or the entire screen, but with one important addition, which is that you are the one who decides what should be the prompt that should be sent with the captured image. So you can ask a question like, describe this image, or any other question. Until now, it's not possible to type your own question. You have to use your voice. Also, you can't ask follow-up questions, so it's only one text that will be sent with the captured screenshot. After the recognition is successful and when the response is ready, it should be read out to you automatically. If you want to reread the response, you can open the recognition menu, then recognition results. You can't find the responses in the chat history. I'll focus the messages and open the main menu. The functions are in the main menu, in the list of functions, and they are in the recognition menu, and you can assign gestures to them. The recognition menu, you can find it in the functions menu. You access the functions menu by swiping up then right. You access the main menu by swiping down then right.
Main menu. Main menu.
Just to remind you of the detailed image description functions.
Detailed description of focused item.
And
detailed description of entire screen.
Now the new functions.
Chat history. Long press. Recognized. Inquire by voice about current focus.
Inquire by voice about current focus.
Inquire by voice about the entire screen.
Inquire by voice about the entire screen. I will use the inquire by voice about the entire screen. Can you find the telegram icon in this image?
Recognition in progress. Yes, I can see the telegram icon in this picture. Telegram.
It is on the screen, so that's right.
See message home CX file explorer. CX file explorer .jpg 200. 1 of 9.
I opened a photo, and I'll open now the recognition menu from the functions menu.
Functions menu. Recognition menu button. Recognition. Detailed. Inquire by voice about current focus.
Inquire by voice about current focus. Are there people in this image?
Recognition in progress. Yes, there is a guy in the picture. He is driving a go-kart on a wooden track. There are a few other go-karts and some spectators nearby. Functions menu. Recognition menu. Recognition menu.
I'll try with another question.
Inquire. Detailed. Inquire by voice about the entire. Inquire by voice about current focus.
Are the people in this image children or adults?
Recognition in progress. The person in the image is a child. JPG 130. Image viewer.
I'll try with another image.
Functions menu. Recognition menu. Recognition. Inquire by voice about current focus.
Describe this image in details.
Recognition in progress. This is a screenshot of a mobile phone showing a group of night photos. There is a status bar at the top of the screen which shows the time at 23:27, signal strength, battery power 52%, and some icons. The middle part is a set of thumbnails of 9 photos, and the 5th photo is currently selected and marked as jaws.jpg. There is a row of function buttons below the photo, including share, rotate, delete, and info. The content of the photo is the urban landscape at night. The dent lights outline the outline of the city, and some of the road lights form bright light bands. The overall tone is dark, mainly black, while the lighting is bright white.
This is an image of a city from an airplane, but it described all of the screen, because when you open a new window and when there is nothing in focus, it will describe, or it will capture the entire screen.
Home screen 1 of 2.
I'll try with another thing.
WhatsApp. WhatsApp. Application icon. Calls 1 0-0. Updates tab. Chats tab selected. New chat button. Chat. New chat button.
This is the new chat in WhatsApp.
Functions menu. Recognition menu button. Recognition. Inquire by voice about current focus.
What could this icon represent?
Recognition in progress. This icon may represent topics related to medical, health, or first aid, but more context is needed to determine what exactly it represents. If you provide more information about the background or purpose of this icon, I might be more helpful.
I can't provide more information because I can't ask more, but let's try.
Functions menu. Recognition menu button. Recognition. Inquire by voice about current focus.
Describe the icon in this image.
Recognition in progress. It's a green icon with a white plus sign in the middle. Chrome. Application icon. New Braille mode called display speech output.
Okay, I'll try something.
Function. Recognition menu. Recognition menu. Can inquire by voice about current focus.
Read the text in this image.
Recognition in progress. New Braille mode output.
Another thing that I want to talk about is in the Jieshuo camera. It's now possible to open the Jieshuo camera and use the inquire by voice to ask about the scene that will be captured.
Main menu. More button. Jieshuo camera. Permission request. Don't allow. Only this. While. Only this. Jieshuo plus.
If I longer press the volume down and then release it, I can ask my question. Then, after that, a photo will be captured and sent with my question. I will put my hand, it's close to the camera, so I think it will be the only thing that will be captured. Describe this image.
Recognition in progress. This image shows a blurred, skin-colored area. Due to the resolution and focus of the image, it is difficult to determine specific details or context. If you have additional questions about this image or need further assistance, please let me know.
Okay, makes sense. But it took time to take the photo after I asked the question. There are several things that I want to talk about before ending this. I don't know if the same AI service that is used in the detailed description is used here. I didn't do any comparisons. Also, I don't know about the limit, the recognition limit, which is in the detailed description, 100 recognition per day. If this limit is also applied here, I think that adding the ability to ask a question or to send your own prompt is something nice, it's something interesting. I hope that this will be improved further with future updates, like if it will give you the ability to type your questions or to ask follow-up questions as well. But overall, I think that this is a nice addition. I hope that also TalkBack will include a similar functionality in its future versions. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Karene. Do you know what service it uses for this? Like which AI service?
Yeah, I said it in the demo. Well, I don't know which service it is using. He didn't give any information regarding this. Also, he didn't talk about the limit, if you have a limit or not, actually, because with the detailed descriptions, you have the limit of 100 recognition per day. This one, there was no mention of anything related to limits. When I tried to ask it, who are you? But I was focusing the Google Translate item, so it was telling me, translate from Google. So it didn't work to tell me which the service that was used. However, well, I can say that it's of course a Chinese service. I can say that also. Well, I didn't give it extensive testing like I do usually with this type of stuff until now. So, but the thing that I can say that it's like not very detailed. As always, I say that the problem with those Chinese services that they are usually inferior to the other international stuff like GPT and Gemini. But we know that the person is unable to deal sometimes with those international services, so he relies on the Chinese available services. So yeah, but I think also that they are improving and they are developing and advancing with time. But the idea itself, we being able to send your own prompt, your own question, is the most interesting part about all of this. Well, I really think that if TalkBack is able to implement this in the future, I'm not optimistic about it, but if Google really is willing to do that, this will be a game changer, because Gemini is like performing well with respect to images and stuff. So yeah, so it will be something good, and I hope that Jieshuo developer will be able to do something and use an international good AI model.
All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us.
Well, and that's it for this week's episode, folks. John, how can people get in touch with us?
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to blindandroidusers+subscribe@groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Well, that's it for this week, folks. Next week, I believe it's the White House area code. It's 202. But thanks very much for listening. Say bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening, and see you guys next week.
Have a great week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening and have a great week ahead.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye bye und auf Wiedersehen.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.